Welcome to the KMC Collective podcast, where Tom, Ben, and Cole bring you practical insights, creative ideas, and authentic conversations for children's ministry leaders. Each conversation is packed with strategies to help you lead with clarity, build strong teams, nurture families, and stay healthy in the process. Whether you're planning lessons, training volunteers, or seeking encouragement for the week ahead, this podcast is for you. We hope to make you laugh, cry, think, and maybe a bit of all three in each of our weekly conversations. This is the KMC Collective Podcast. Let's jump into the conversation.
All right, and welcome to this week's KMC Collective Podcast. On this week's conversation, I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm Ben.
All right, welcome, fellas. It's been a good week, and we had some good reactions to last week's podcast about conferences. In fact, because of that conversation, it got me thinking. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't know if you guys, do you ever get that post-conference brain fog, you know? Yeah.
I feel like I get pre-conference brain fog.
Pre-conference. Yeah, well, yeah.
I get body fog. Like, I just want to take a nap, curl up in the corner of my bed, and a nice warm blanket. That's all.
Yeah. And I mean, and not only that, but I don't know if it's only me, but I don't think it is, where you get totally overwhelmed with all the content that you get thrown at. You're so inspired. You're just like, oh yeah, let's go, let's take this, and you take all these notes and you've got all these stuff, you went through the resource center and you got all these brochures and all the swag and all this kind of stuff. And then you're like, you go home and for some reason, nobody's quite as excited as you are. Right. And then you've got this, ooh, that breakout speaker, they said this and I should be doing that. And oh, that main stage speaker said I should really let go of this and start doing that. And that resource provider said I really need this. And if I buy this, it will solve all my problems. And my, I'll have all the volunteers that I'll ever need, and it just, you just feel this pressure. And then you have that conversation with your senior leader. And they're like, so what'd you learn? What, and you're like, oh, so much stuff. There was just so great stuff. And I saw all this stuff.
I'm still trying to comprehend it.
Yeah,
I can't put it into
so
words.
Much, yeah.
Yes. And
fire hose of information.
Yeah. And you could almost see inside a kid's pastor's brain, the wheels are just spinning in the mud, going deeper and deeper. And you guys relate to that, right? I mean,
yeah. My first kids, I think coming back to my first conference, I had like 35 ideas, like new ideas. I'd been in church ministry for 6 months. And I was like, I got 35 new ideas, Pat. And he was like, no, you don't.
But have you ever like put one into action, like within like a week or two of coming back from one? Like you have all these ideas. Have you tried to like implement it like day one, like before the Sunday service of the week you get back kind of thing?
Yeah. That's
How'd that go?
Yeah.
That didn't go well.
Crash and burn.
Yes.
So I just thought on the heels of last, and if you didn't listen to last episode or watch the last episode on our YouTube channel, you need to go watch that one first and then come to this one, because I want to have a conversation this week about what we would say as ministry coaches. We're going to kind of put on our coaching hats in this session, in this conversation. And I want to kind of coach each other, but coach the listener with that question of, okay, Coach Ben, Coach Cole, Coach Tom, I'm back from conference. I got pages of notes. I'm inspired. My heart's challenged. I'm ready to take the kingdom, but I'm not sure what to do with all this stuff. I'm really not sure how to implement. And yes, I've heard the horror stories of coming back and implementing something too fast, too soon. What do I do? Where do I start this process of going, this is something I can use, and this is something for maybe later, or this is something, no, it doesn't work in my culture, context, or community. So I don't know which one of you wants to start the conversation, but all right, Ben, I see that hand, brother.
I will tell you, like, if you would have talked to Ben early in ministry 20 years ago, I would have a completely different answer than I'll tell you today.
Okay.
But as an early in children's ministry person, I come back from a conference, man, I'm stoked. I'm ready to go. I have all these ideas. Whether it's a conference about curriculum, whether it's a conference about children's ministry, or just learning from a church in general, like
Mm-hmm.
I want to, like, man, that works so good. I want to put it into play. I hate waiting. And so I'm one of those guys that, like, we're done on a Friday. I'm in church on Saturday getting this new idea set up so that I can like implement on Sunday morning, and it bombs every time. You talk about Ben now, 20 years later, and my big thing is, okay, I have all these notes, I have all these ideas.
Yep.
I sit down and I'm like, remind myself, okay, wow, took it all in, so much goodness right there. But where am I taking my kids, my church? What is my ultimate goal?
There we
Like
go.
you've heard me in the past say, what's your why?
Yep.
The why is important. Like, why did
Yep.
they hire me? To disciple kids, to reach families.
Yep.
So how is what I just got gonna reach the families in my community? Like, if I'm in an urban place, it ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
work the same if I'm in a farmland place like church. Like,
Yep.
there's different cultures, different ways of looking at how families interact. I came from a church that was super sports driven, and reaching them on a Sunday, reaching them on a weekday,
Yeah.
super, super, super hard. So all these things about we need to connect with families and all this wisdom that I was getting did not fit the mold. Now the wisdom that I got says, all right, this is why it's important. Take the why of why it's important and figure out how to do that versus take their steps to make that happen. So originally it's like, man, these are great ideas. I'm going to take that idea and run. But it's not going to fit exactly where you're at, why you're doing what you're doing. And then 20 years later, I look and I'm like, you know what? Who are my people? And I
Yep.
look at it from the
Yep.
perspective of I'm the shepherd. These are my sheep.
Yep.
And a lot of sheep, they're used to their little land. They're used to their type of farmland. And so, like, you got to figure out how those sheep maneuver, how those sheep like their grass, how those
Right.
sheep like their water.
Culture matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Culture's
totally.
huge.
And
Yep.
that was a huge eye-opening time for me because I was one of those, man, let's take that idea and run. And
Yep.
looking back is like, Ben, why were you so stupid? Because I had great ideas. And it
Great
was
ideas.
Yeah.
because I just lost the track of, you know what? God brought me to this church.
Yeah.
What is special about this church? And why did God bring me here?
Yep.
And how can
That's
I
good.
best
Mm-hmm.
effectively reach the families, reach the kids, disciple, minister, preach, it all,
Yep.
like, even like
Yep.
when you're searching for curriculum and all that stuff, you ask those questions
Mm-hmm.
because those are super, super important.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good. I mean, I think a lot of people, and I don't think it's being stupid. I think it's just you're zealous, you're excited, you're passionate, you're driven, all those things. And it's not bad. I did that same thing. I think there's probably all of us are nodding our head. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I did the same thing. I came back and I scorched the earth. And I blew my volunteers. In fact, at times you can do damage. I will say, you can do damage with that because if you're not careful and you don't pay attention to your sheep and you don't pay attention to the land, we'll keep on with your illustration.
Yeah.
If you're not watching the geography, you can scorch the earth and really cause some damage and cause casualties if you're not careful. So I think that's some good advice, Ben. And Cole, I want to hear you. What would you say if I came to you and said, Coach Cole, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm feeling stuck. I just don't know where to start. What would be one thing or two things that I could do to get started with taking that great information and making it implementable?
I would definitely take Ben's foundational piece of not trying to implement it all right away and finding the right context. But I think for me, like if I'm coming back and I'm overwhelmed with so many, I mean, like I said earlier, I joke around and said I came back with 35 ideas the first time I went to a kids conference. That's not an understatement. I had them written down, and my boss looked at me. I remember sitting with my boss, and he says to me, "I want you to pick two, and then in the next year we're gonna try." We're not going to do. We're going to try to implement what you think is the best two ideas for our ministry together. And I was like, "Are you sure I got 35?" He's like, "No, 35 is way too many." And looking back at this is 12. This is 12 years ago. And so like, looking back on it, 3 is too many. I always try to like, and this is kind of just probably would have been used in the last podcast better, but going into a conference with the understanding my context, I always try to find between 1 and 3 things, hopefully one of them being super easy, that is like an instant win that you can do really quickly to shift maybe culture, easy wins are always easy to build off of.
Yes.
But if you're looking at like all of a sudden you come back from a conference and you're like, I want to start young adult ministry. I want to start a special needs ministry. I want to start building my volunteer team on our stage for our stage ministry for a large group. I want 75 new volunteers. Listen, that is all great things. Pick one, and then move forward from that. And here's the thing: like, who some of these things can be built on over time. And so you could do all 3 of those things over the next 4 years, building your volunteer team, all those types of things, building your special needs ministry, all that type of stuff. For me, is saying, what's my context? What's 1 or 2 things that I've pulled from this ministry? Go over your notes. I'd say I recommend a week after your conference, go to a coffee shop, look through everything you have. Go, here's my context. Here's the 4 things that really, or 5 things that really inspired me. But what are the 1 or 2 things that I can implement over time? And then from there, start working with maybe your boss or yourself to come up with just a beginning plans of what does the end look like if this gets implemented, and then work your way back from there and say, these are the steps that have to take to make this happen. And is this feasible within the next year, 2 years, 3 years, that type of deal. I remember my business teacher told me in college, you can only eat an elephant 1 bite at a time.
That's right.
You're only going to implement big ideas 1 step at a time. And so don't try to implement everything all at the same time. Implement one thing steps at a time, and understand that all of this takes time. And it's not going to be in your time, it's going to be in God's time, because this is his ministry that he's let you steward. And so you got to, as Ben uses you got to cultivate the soil, as Ben so you put it with the sheep, but you got to cultivate the soil and see what God grows in the soil. Because
right on.
The cool thing is, though, is what you think is going to be a really awesome idea, if you let God take it over time, that idea morphs into something that works better. You bring more voices into it, it works better for your ministry and better for your church. Because it shouldn't just be your voice. It should be the voice of the people that you lead, the kids that you lead, the families, all that. Allow those voices in to give you different perspectives. So
I agree.
That's
with
where
that.
I would kind of be.
No, your stuff is brilliant, man. I've really subscribed to the planning thing. Like you're saying, come to the table with 1, 2, 3, or whatever.
Yep.
There was a church I was a part of where the pastor made us do 6 and 6. I think it was from the Greater Leadership Summit type thing. But it was, at the time, I'm like, oh, this is lame. Like, this is a lot. I got to have 6 goals and I got to get them done in 6 weeks. But at the end of 6 weeks, we look back at those 6 goals. What did I do with those 6 goals? Those 6 takeaways, if we're talking conferences. Because honestly, if you don't do something immediately following your conference, your stuff that you learned slowly fades to oblivion. And then it becomes stuck in a dusty notebook, or it stays in the bag in the corner of your closet. And for me, pick 6 things. Like, this is like, there's different plans, but for me, like, 6 that you want to accomplish in 6 weeks. And then in 6 weeks, look back and say, okay, what happened in those 6 weeks? How did I move forward with that great idea? Even if you have to rotate it to the next 6 weeks, you at least started a
Yeah.
plan to move, a plan to keep it fresh. I just finished reading a book, The 12-Week Year. Have you ever read that book?
No, haven't
I've
read
heard
that
of it.
one.
I've not read it.
It's a business book, but it honestly is like, okay, don't make big goals. Like if you're going to plan 12 weeks out, hit those things. Like you can have three things in 12 weeks. Okay. In 12 weeks, I'm going to have completely different curriculum. In 12 weeks, I'm going to have an amazing environment. In 12 weeks, we're going to have this worship for kids implemented and rolling. But put a time limit on the things that you learn.
Yeah.
And then the last church I was at, I did something in 5. I called it Thrive in 5. Like, how can I take everything that I learned and come away successful from it? Saying, hey, church, what you just invested in me to go to this conference, I'm going to put into a thriving, moving, like smart. Our kids'
Yeah.
ministry in 5 weeks is going to come away with something different or more successful in whatever that route is, whether it's the way it looks, the way the people that you're reaching. Did you see that right there? Oh, go Georgia Bulldogs. Uh, anyways, there it is. Sorry, squirrel.
Yeah.
But put a plan. Like make a plan, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
6 weeks, 5 weeks, 12 weeks, um,
All right.
a
So
quarter,
so
and do it.
he's
Like
already
just
jumped
do
into some of my stuff. So
Ah,
I'm
you
gonna
asked me.
yeah.
yeah, that's true. And those are good. Because I think what we're doing and what I'm hoping people are seeing is we're building here. And I think
Yep.
if you start off with that whole idea, filter through the why, know your sheep, know your land, know your culture, your community, all those kind of things. And as you look at what you're looking at implementing and thinking through, does it filter? Does it line up with those kind of things that you have? And then, like what Cole was saying, think about that end goal. And if I implement this, what's that going to look like? How does that achieve that why and that thing? So you're looking at those kind of things, and you can work backwards, and you're doing it. And then Ben throws in there the few more things. Make it time driven. That was one of the things I was going to say is you need to look at 30 to 60 or even a 90-day sprint and say, I'm going to lock in on this and I'm going to learn all I can about this idea, and I'm going to work at implementing it for 30 to 60 or even 90 days, if that's what it takes realistically to get it done. And as you do that, you're adjusting and you're tweaking and you're pivoting to see if that's going to work. If it doesn't, hey, it was a failed experiment. You learned a lot from it. You learned what not to do. You also probably learned some things that you could do in there. So I think taking it, I'll add this filter. I like talking through basically what I call the 3 R's. Is it really relevant? Does this idea, does it correlate or go with the current challenge I'm facing, or does it fit with one of my goals for the year? And that's why when you're going into, we talked about this in the last episode, when you're going to a conference, you need to pick out breakouts that fit with where you're going. And then a couple that are outside your comfort zone and outside your goals to expand your thinking. So you got to ask yourself, is what I'm looking at implementing, is it relevant? Really? I mean, I know it sounds like a great idea that person's doing, but again, they may be coming from a whole different landscape and working with totally different sheep than you are. And it may not be relevant to where you are. It may be a great idea, but it just might be relevant for what you're doing. Is it realistic? Can you realistically implement this in that 30 to 90 days with the resources you have, meaning the time, talent, and treasure that you have? Can you realistically do that? You may not be in that place right now. You mentioned special needs ministry. I came back from a conference thinking we got to get this rolling. I've got special needs families that are coming in my doors and I don't know what to do. Well, the program that I had in my mind, it wasn't realistic for us to do. We did not have the team to do that. And I had to say, that's not realistic. I can't implement this yet. It's going to take a certain number of things to happen before I can truly implement that. And then the last R is return.
I was gonna say Tom does the R's.
He
He
does.
pulls
He's
out
a
a
pastor,
pencil.
man.
He's
He's
gonna
the
have that
pastor.
3-point. It's gonna
I do.
rhyme.
Yeah.
It's gonna have.
I
It's
do.
a Sunday 3-point
So
message.
It is. Hallelujah.
So what's the third R? Say that
So
again.
the third R is return. Is this really going to have impact? Is the ROI, the return of investment? And honestly, these conferences, when you're choosing a conference, that's something you need to keep in mind too. Bonus from last week too, is if I go to this conference, is the church going to see? Ben said this just a minute ago. Is the church going to see that I'm doing something with this? Is it going to impact them and their families? Is it going to impact my team? Is it going to grow me and help me be a better leader so I can build a healthy team and build a healthy ministry? So is it relevant? Is it realistic? Do I have a return in there? Because then as you're doing that, you can take those 6 things and you can say, okay, what's now? What can I implement immediately in the next 2 weeks after conference? What's the next quarter? Or what's the next year? See, I even got
That's your
3
fourth
N's.
R. How are you gonna roll it out?
Okay. I was doing all ends on that next one. Now, next. Yeah. But anyway, and honestly, I'll put a 4th N. Never. There are some things that you just have to say, nope. That's not going to work.
Preach.
Can I give a quick little story, because I kind of feel like we should give them an example of this. So
yes,
something I came back last year. I went to Orange Conference, and I came back, and that was April of last year. I came back thinking we need special, and we did. We needed a special needs ministry. And was it real or was it relevant? 100%. We were having more and more families with kids that needed the help. And now I came back from that conference, and I was a little overwhelmed. Not only did I go to it, I was also volunteering. So I had a lot of stuff going through my head post conference. And I didn't stop to think of the realistic stuff. I was like, we need a ministry where we're meeting every single need, and I need a space and a room and all the things. And I was like 2 months post conference and hadn't made a move. I hadn't done anything. And I remember sitting down with my boss, and I'm like, we really, really need this. He goes, okay, what's the next step? I said, what the next step is, well, to honestly do this, I need 20 more volunteers. That's the next step. Yeah. And he goes, okay, how do we get 20 more volunteers? Because I had people that were interested in shadowing, but I couldn't let them leave their small group because I didn't have anybody. I had high school kids that were like 14, and I can't have 7 14-year-olds leading a small group. I need an adult. So no offense to the high school kids, they're amazing, but so we did a thing, and he was like, what if we did a ministry fair and we just really push some stuff and see what happens? I got 15 new volunteers out of that ministry fair. And then out of that ministry fair, I was able to move people from their certain places. Some people wanted to be shadows. Some people wanted to stay as small group leaders. But out of that ministry fair, I was able to get 4 out of my 5 kids that needed a shadow. I mean, I was telling parents, I was like, hey, listen, like, we're going to get so-and-so a shadow. They're going to start next week, but it's going to be a slow process. So your kid gets to know them. We're going to do a whole process of, so it's not, because a lot of the kids have trouble with just a quick change. So my shadows basically just joined the room, and over a 3 to 4 week process took more and more time towards that individual kid. I had parents crying. They said, you see my kid for who they are. You see my kid for what they can do. You're not trying to put them in a second room where they're just by themselves. I said, no, they need to be with their friends. And the cool part is that is really helped move things forward and allowed me to then go, okay, what's next? What can we do next with it? We're successful in implementing this smaller, what I would consider at the beginning of the whole conversation, a small piece of just putting shadows in a room with kids. There's a lot that had to have happened to do that, but we were able to do it. And now I'm going, okay, for 2026, what is the new thing that we can enhance, not change?
Yep.
What can we do to enhance those rooms so that those kids feel better equipped to be successful in those rooms with those volunteers? And so 2026 was, I have a whole thing of goals that I'm working towards to do. And it's enhancing the specific rooms they're in, not going, well, we just need a whole new space. It's going, what can we do in this? Because that's the context. Our context isn't let's get them out of the rooms. The context is how do we keep them in their rooms and make them more successful in their rooms with their kids?
That's good stuff.
Okay.
But that was started in April of last year, and now it's October.
There you go.
And so it just takes time. It takes time. Sometimes
The
it's
year's
6 weeks.
still young. The year's still young.
The year's still young, yes.
Real quick, Tom, we're going to do one more R. Recap your R's again. That
yes,
way,
recap those R's.
As we're closing out this podcast, I want to know, like, that was so good. Like, it was like perfectly sermon-esque. Something we can take away from this right here is like, what are your 3? Add the 4th one being roll, whatever that was.
Roll out.
And I'm gonna let you. Let's recap the R's as we close this one out.
Okay. Well, we'll add a 5th. Reflect.
Ooh.
There we go.
Man, he's on fire today.
And create a reference
number
system.
We gotta get to number 5. Start with number 1 more time.
All right, one more time.
Take
My 3 R's are is it relevant? So does it reflect? Does it reflect my sheep, my why? See, I'm going to pull all this together. I'm going to try to pull all this together. Let's see if we can do this. You guys can jump in and help me out here. So
I want to see you sweat. You got this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it.
This reminds me back to the old radio program. We used to do Stump the Bump, and we don't need to bring that back.
Let's keep going with the R's.
So relevant. Does it reflect? Does it reflect my why, my sheep, my land? Okay. Is it realistic? So would this fit my sheep, my why, my land? Am I going to get the return? Meaning, can I take this and can I see it implemented in a way that's going to cause growth in myself, my team, my ministry? And if we can do that, then how do we roll it out so that the body can take it, the sheep will accept it, they will eat it up, that the land will produce fruit, and can we do that in a realistic time, so that as we reflect on those R's, we're going to look back after 30, 60, 90 days and go, hey, look what God's been doing in all this. So there we go.
That was number 5. Reflect.
Yeah, 5 R's, man.
Reflect with gratitude, because there's so many
that's
churches out there that can financially afford to send you to a conference.
Right.
Be grateful.
Yep.
Be grateful that you get the opportunity to learn and soak it up for what it's worth. Soak everything in.
And I think people just need to remember progress over perfection.
Yep. Consistency.
Right? You know, and it's okay to let go of some of those ideas, because not every piece of content you're going to get, not every piece of swag or card from a resource provider is going to be usable at that moment. It's okay. The main thing is that you keep learning, you keep connecting with people, and you know what? Hey, even if you can't go to a conference, you know what? Kid Ministry Collective offers something that's honestly probably, I'm going to say it, better than a conference, because a conference is only a few days and then it's done, and it's once a year. But if you join kidminplus.net, you have a conference year round. There are lessons in this place. There's short, bite size, not drink from a fire hose. There's short, bite-sized trainings. There's more coming in there. There's meetups. There are live roundtables. There's coaching. You can get everything at a conference, minus the wild and crazy worship and the resource center kind of things. There's a few things missing, but it's pretty darn close.
We could pull off some worship on my kazoo.
We probably could, but you know,
play the spoons, Cole.
No, I'm not gifted when it comes to music.
I can do the kazoo, but that's about it. So the kazoo is about it. But anyway, but Kidmin Plus to me is one of those places where you can get that community, you can get that encouragement, you can get that networking. And so I would encourage people to check that out. But here's the other thing, guys. I'm hoping that somebody will take us up on the challenge. If you're feeling stuck, whether it's last year's conferences or some of the recent stuff that's been happening here in 2025, I'm hoping that you won't just go, well, I'm stuck. I'm not sure what to do. And woe is me. I'm hoping that what you will do is take one step. Take 15 seconds of insane courage. Go to kmccoach.net. You're going to see our 3 mugshots. Well, thankfully they're not a mugshot, but you're going to see our 3 faces there. You're going to see our bios. You're going to see what we love to talk about. And you can come and sign up for a free 30-minute clarity call. So it takes 15 seconds of courage to hit the button, schedule the call, and then you get 30 minutes with one of us, and we'll talk to you. You can pick one thing that you want some help on of how you want to get unstuck from something, or you need some, am I crazy for thinking this, or what would you do? You got 30 minutes where you can hang out with one of us and talk it through. And we would love to introduce you to what our coaching mentoring program is all about. Because I think we can help. I know we can help. And all you got to do is take that 15 seconds of courage and schedule the call and go check it out. So, all right, fellas, I am excited.
That was pretty rad. As you and a 6 are. That was rad, Tom.
Righteous. Oh, there we go.
Ooh, 7.
So, hey, this has been a fun conversation, guys. And hey, we just want to say thank you to our listeners. I want to give a special shout out to Kim Webster, who's joining the Kid Ministry Collective Facebook group. And she even said, hey, I started listening to the podcast and I love all the questions and the feedback, and I want to be a part of the conversation. Well, Kim, welcome to the KMC. We're glad to have you in the collective, and we're looking forward to that. So we're looking forward to having more conversations with all of you, and would love to hear from you. In fact, if you'll do me one more favor and take 2 minutes and go to where you're listening to this podcast and leave us a review, preferably 5 stars if we can earn it, or the YouTube channel, and do that, subscribe. It just helps us get out there into the algorithm. Woo. And I wish I had some spooky music to play when I said algorithm, but we would love to do that because it just helps get the word out about the collective podcast. And so we're doing it. So, all right. Well, fellas, that's going to wrap up this week's conversation. I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
And I'm Ben once again. Oh, that's how I rhyme. It wasn't ours, but it works. See you next time.
See you next time. All right. We're out.
Hey, friend, that wraps up the KMC Collective podcast for this week. Thanks so much for listening. If today's episode sparked something, an idea, a heartbeat, or a fresh start, drop us a line at tom@tombump.com or reach out on social media. We'd love to hear your story and keep the conversation going. Remember, you're not just doing kids ministry, you're shaping the next generation's faith with intention and care. Be encouraged, be creative, and take a breath. You've got this. Catch you next time on the KMC Collective Podcast.